One.
Hello, today is October 4th and it's a Friday. So we started with our vocab word today, and our vocab word is territory. So territory is a region of land that is owned by a country. In the United States, when we have a territory, it's organized by our national government, by Congress, and they put together a territorial government. And so they have it says in here, they have a governor, and they have some leadership to make rules, to keep, to enforce laws, to keep things organized. Once a territory gets to a certain size, yep, bells always. Once it gets to a certain size, then it can decide if it wants to become a state. To do that, it has to have so many people. Then it has to write a state constitution and submit that to Congress. They would vote on it, and at that point, they could become a state. So that's what a territory, process of a territory becoming a state. We do actually have territories. Currently, Puerto Rico is a great example of a territory that the United States has. They're still an organized land that the United States has. They have decided to this point to not be a state. So they might change that mind. We might end up with 51 stars at some point. Our target for today is to explain what manifest destiny means, what that word means. And we're going to investigate that word a little later today. But for right now, as we're getting started, think about the word destiny. And what does that mean to you? Where have you heard destiny before, besides the video game? Think about how people use it. They might say, oh, they're destined to be great, or their destiny is this. So think about what that might mean to you. So our today's events, we went over the vocab quiz, and if you aren't here today, you can definitely stop in and I'll let you take a look at your quiz and how you did on the individual questions, because yesterday you got a score, but you didn't see how you did on individual questions. Overall, we did a pretty good job. We had an 87% was the average score, so just over 13 correct. But obviously some people did better, some didn't do as well. So think about, as you're viewing it, what you did to prepare yourself for this quiz. This is a lot of new information, new vocabulary words that you've never had before. So be thinking about that, and what did you do to help prepare? Did you practice Quizlet? Did you make up flashcards? Did you take some of the Quizlet quizzes? Did you have your parents quiz you? What did you do to prepare? Did you use your class time, really well? And when we did the vocabulary words, you were focused around that, because that's where these vocab quizzes come from, these vocabulary words. So just think about that. Then what we did is we took a look at, we started our next chapter. And to do that, we did some thinking around westward expansion, and just trying to get some prior knowledge put together, basically. So there will be something near the top that says Introduction to Manifest Destiny. And you can see this first slide. What this is talking about is how the United States has grown. This part in green here is the 13 original colonies, that area. This part in purple, the dark purple, is what we got after winning the Revolutionary War. This was in the treaty. Treaty is just an agreement between two countries. It was in the treaty that ending the Revolutionary War. So this is everything from the Appalachian Mountains all the way to the Mississippi River. So yep, part of Minnesota was gotten here. And so this then, the 1 and 2, the green and purple, was the original United States. But then we did some thinking about and some discussing about why almost immediately upon becoming a country, we wanted to start expanding into this open area. So do some thinking around why would we want to expand, what this gets us, what not only, in physical things, but just pride and prestige, and why we might want this. So why we might work really hard to get this. Now, the colors actually denote different ways that we got these lands, and I also mentioned that we will be learning about how we got all these different areas next week. That's really the main focus, is how we expand it. Then what we did is I won't be able to put this online, so you'll just have to take a look at it with me. But I had people take a look at this picture, or this painting, excuse me. And this painting is called American Progress. You can see it was painted by John Gast in 1872. So that's after Manifest Destiny, this time period, but it highlights Manifest Destiny. So I want you to pause this video and take a moment to just notice things. There's a lot going on in this painting. So take a quick notice, and when you get done, then unpause me and we'll continue on. Okay? All right. So I'm going to run through a couple of things here. So you hopefully took a moment to notice some things. And, think about which groups are moving from east to west. What are they bringing with them? What are reasons that these groups possibly are moving from east to west? Which groups are already in the west? What's happening to them? Who's this main figure? What might she represent? Okay. And then do you believe that this artist thought that it was right that Americans, that they expanded? It was justified. Justified is a big fancy word for, do you think it's right or wrong? Okay. All right. So a couple of the features. And I'm just going through this really quickly with you. We actually did this all together as a group. So, just pause this at any point. But Manifest Destiny, it's actually, she is the symbol of Manifest Destiny. Remember, a symbol represents something else. And she's floating across North America, and she's traveling, out west. And with her, she's bringing a school book, so education and learning, and she's bringing a telegraph, which is, think of it like the text messaging of today. It allowed people to communicate through dots and dashes as long as there was a telegraph line. And it allowed them to communicate really quickly, too. That's a better way of seeing it. All right. So there she is, yep. And painting's moving from east to west, which means westward expansion, moving west. The buffalo and the Native Americans are being pushed because, as you know from your studies last year in social studies, that there were people already here, and they really were moved out by this Manifest Destiny. Okay. Yeah, there's. So this person is very much in favor of westward expansion and this idea of Manifest Destiny. And one thing, the reason I'm continuing through this little slideshow is I'm going to locate for you the essential question. And this is an important question to be thinking about all of next week. And the question is, how justifiable was U.S. expansion in the 1800s? So was it right or wrong that we expanded? And I'd really like you to put this into your notebook. Start a new page for Manifest Destiny. And next week, as we are learning about how we got the different parts of the United States, I want you to think about, was it right or wrong in how we gained this? Some of these will definitely be they'll feel right. Others of them are going to feel a little weird. And the reason I want you to think about that is there might be a time and place when we are able to expand more land for the United States. We might win some in war, or we might have a chance to buy some land or take it from somebody. What would be justifiable or not, and what would be the reasons for doing that? So think about that. And then the word Manifest Destiny. So let's go back to this one. This right here, this slide, shows how we got the different areas. You may have already known some of this. The Louisiana Purchase, it's kind of a big one. Lots of people know about it because of Lewis and Clark. But there's definitely others, and next week we'll learn about all of them. So there's what we're going to preview to next week. And the word Manifest Destiny, which I want you to write down in your target and then also in your notebook, it's the belief that it was America's right and our duty to spread across the North American continent. We know now that duty is something we must do. We have to do it. So this idea of Manifest Destiny is really just a slogan to show that we have to expand. It is our right. We are destined. It is our future to do this. So That is a quick summary of what we did today. It's a lot of talking and thinking and evaluating. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.